So today I'm looking at a leaky Moen faucet, and what happens, I've got the water turned off right now, but what happens, okay, my parrot's joining in. So what happens so what happens is if the faucet is in either direction, even though it's pushed in and off, it still drips. So what I'm planning on doing is replacing the cartridge, the internal cartridge here, which has all the rubber seals and so forth on it. So like I say, I've turned off the water. There's a hot and a cold valve to turn off the water supply to this, and that's already turned off. So now I have to remove the top here and the knob. Before you actually dismantle any of the faucet itself, it's a good idea to put something into the basin here to collect anything that you might drop so it doesn't go down the drain, which would be quite a pain. Okay, for this job I'm going to have a replacement cartridge to install. The little white plastic piece there is to dislodge the old cartridge, and you fit that over the existing cartridge and you move it from side to side to loosen up the old cartridge. If you can't get the cartridge out with that, then you use this, which is called a cartridge puller, and basically it screws onto the cartridge in the center there. But I'll show you how to use this in a little while. I've got some channel locks as well, which I'm probably going to need, and a Phillips screwdriver for the knob, which I seem to have misplaced. But anyway, let's take this cover off, and there's the Phillips that we need to remove. Let me go grab my Phillips screwdriver. Well, it's not the one I'd normally use, but it'll do the job for now, so I'll be taking this screw out. Left-handed, no doubt. Although I'm not left-handed. Okay, so we put to one side the bits that we've taken out so we don't lose them. Now I'm going to remove the knob, which should come off by pulling, and there's the knob removed. And here's the cartridge. Now there's a sleeve here that you need to remove. You just pull this sleeve off, he says, with one hand. Okay, there we go. So there's the sleeve. So I have to remember to put that back. Okay, now there's also a horseshoe clip just here, and we need to remove the horseshoe clip. So I can either use another pair of pliers, or in this case I'll just use the channel locks to pull out the horseshoe pin. There we go. So one horseshoe pin removed. We're talking about this that you just remove from the top slot here. And then there's a little washer down here that needs to be taken out, and so we put that somewhere safe so we don't lose it along with our other parts. So now we've got the cartridge here that we need to remove, and if we open the new cartridge, conveniently it gives us a couple of horseshoe clips. This is the one I'll be using, and a little plastic piece to help remove the old the old cartridge, the new cartridge, and instructions. So the idea is that you fit this over the old cartridge, and with pliers, channel lock, whatever, you then move it from side to side to try and remove the old cartridge. Now this one's pretty tight, so I'm not going to force it. I'll probably end up just breaking the white plastic piece. Yeah, it doesn't want to come out, not easily. So instead of using that, I'm going to use the cartridge puller that I bought some years back, and that's this guy here. So you can see that there's a screw thread up the center there, which will screw into the center of the cartridge where you'd normally screw the knob. So we fit this on either side, and then we have to screw this screw down. So I'm going to have to put the camera down for a moment to do that. Okay, so this center screw is screwed into the brass part where you would normally screw the knob. So that's secured it. And already I can feel that the thing's starting to move. So that's good. So now all we need to do is basically tighten this nut down, or unscrew this one, and it will pull the cartridge right out. So this should be removing the cartridge. Okay, so there we go. There's the old cartridge removed. Now this was the way the cartridge was removed from the Faucet, and we need to put the new one back in the same orientation, and if we don't, we'll get hot where we should be getting cold, and cold where we should be getting hot. But before I put the new cartridge in, I'm going to clean out this hole, because there's bound to be some corrosion. Looking at the old cartridge, you can see it's got various bits of green, verdigris or whatever on the old cartridge, so it's going to be inside here too. So what I'm going to use is some white vinegar. Pour some white vinegar down here, and give it a good brush with a toothbrush, an old toothbrush. I'll remove these parts out of the way first. So I put some vinegar down this hole, down the hole here. Shut the door so you can't hear the birds. Okay, so I put some vinegar down the hole, and now I'm cleaning it with an old toothbrush. Of course, you can always use the wife's toothbrush. Whatever you do, don't use your toothbrush. Always, always use somebody else's. Now this is just an old toothbrush that gets used for jobs like this. Okay, so we've given that a good clean. I'm going to wipe it around there with paper towel. So now I'm going to flush the hole there with some fresh water, just to flush out that vinegar. I don't really want to be leaving vinegar in there. Okay, so that's flushed. So now we get to put the new cartridge in, and before I'm going to put the new one in, although it is greased already, I'm going to apply a little more plumber's silicone grease, just to give it a little bit extra. So now I'm going to insert the new cartridge carefully and push it all the way down. Okay. Just going to check that it's all the way in. Yep. Now it's all the way in. So now we put the washer back that we took off earlier. We put the horseshoe clip back in to hold the cartridge in place. Just got to pull that back a little bit. Just to get it lined up properly. There we go. So now it's all the way in. If it's not all the way in, you won't be able to return the sleeve over the top. This sleeve, it just won't go, because the that little horseshoe clip will be in the way. So you'll know it's in correctly when you can get this sleeve back on. So next we can put the knob back. The knob's back in place. And the Phillips screw. Don't over tighten it, because you'll probably crack the knob if you do. And now before I put this cover on, I'm going to check that the actual water flow is correct, that we're getting hot and cold in the correct positions. So let me turn the water back on and we'll test that. So now the water's back on, I'm going to test it. Okay, so the hot and the cold is back to front, which means the cartridge is upside down. It's a good job I tested it. It's quite easy to correct that issue. You just take the or turn the cartridge 180 degrees. So I'm going to take the knob back off and turn the cartridge around, and we'll test it again, remembering to turn the water off first. Okay, so testing again now. I've turned the cartridge 180 degrees, and yep, that's hot and cold, and no drips. Oh, that'll keep the wife happy. So finally, just putting the cover for the knob back on. There we go. And one last test. Looks like the water needs a good flush. Probably time time to change my filter as well. Let that run for a minute. And it's hot and cold and off in any position. So we're done. That's how you change a Moen cartridge on your faucet. So thanks for watching. If you like the video, give me a thumbs up and subscribe for more videos. Thanks again. Bye for now.